Right, this is Katie from View from the Top. Katie, you were going last today, graveyard shift. I am quite, or reasonably familiar with View from the Top because obviously we've had. Is she your boss?
Yeah, Jean.
We've had Jean on this course before. So are you? Jean came on, made some changes, and now you're going to make changes to Jean's changes to sort of iteratively move the business where it needs to be. But where is View from the Top? And it's going through a lot of changes, isn't it? And you know, what part is the web going to play in that?
Yeah, well, basically it's a meeting venue and gallery space that's on the high street, and so we've got two main markets: the people that book the meeting room and the people that book the gallery for hire. So it's sort of artists, designer, makers for the gallery, and then organisations and companies for the meeting room.
Was the before?
Yeah.
And this is after the. Have you done this layout?
Yeah, I've done it on Photoshop. It's not gone live or anything, but it's just sort of taken into account the eye tracker and sort of a sense of, because with this website a lot of people said on this course that there wasn't a lot of content.
Yeah.
And I mean, we didn't have very good keyword density or just any sort of informative kind of article-based content that would make people stay on the site. So generally I think the people that came to the site were people that knew that we existed already, rather than coming along and then finding out what we do. So with this I've sort of added more articles that could sort of come up in search engines on different things, because we have regular turnaround of exhibitions, having each of the sort of upcoming shows on this sort of central
like fresh
basis.
content. It's recency and relevance, isn't it? It's going to be much more up to date, isn't it? Yeah, I mean it's much richer with content. Without, obviously it won't look exactly like this. You'll tweak it a little bit more, but it's got more content on there. It's more interesting. You've always got a balance between kind of busyness, you know, kind of busy looking website and the amount of content. But I like it straight away. I think this sums up kind of View from the Top much better. The kind of skyline, the roof line thing, much better than what you're doing across with the previous one before. And you're much better kind of user space, much more content on there. So okay, so what are the advantages of this over this then? One of the things you mentioned is recency and getting plenty of content on there. One is keyword rich. What other advantages have you got with this
Well,
approach?
we're going to have, obviously with more people in there as well, we've got sort of, it's just going to make people sort of feel that, gain sort of trust with the space. If they haven't come up to us already, they might give us a second look rather than always book with the same hotel where they always have their conferences and stuff. But also we've got sort of opt-ins that we'd have on every page so that you can join our mailing list, so we can keep people, keep the footfall coming up to the space. And also we're going to start a sort of membership system, so which we've already started with our women's networking event, which happens every month, and we're going to sort of widen that so people can pay a £5 a month membership fee, and they'd be able to use meeting room when it wasn't booked, which they can check on our online calendar.
Oh, right.
So that will encourage people to come up, see the shows that are happening, but also see the meeting room and sort of think about it when they then have a larger meeting that they need to book somewhere for.
I think that the issue is the exposure of how good the rooms are, because it's that once you're above ground floor, that kind of enticing people into a retail space or any space off that ground floor is that most people don't do it, because they think, oh, I'm going to have to go up and then I'll have to come back down, and you know, and it puts people in an awkward position. So I think you've got to. This is doing a lot better job of exposing people to the sort of space that it is. So I do like that, and I like the idea of, this is quite novel. I haven't seen this really much before, which is obviously this. What we made, I think I've got an idea, but what were your motivations to sticking that there?
Well, with eye tracker, learning about eye tracker, that as people look through the page, generally they leave their sort of their point of leaving is usually the top right hand side, but probably below the banner, so I've probably put it in the wrong place there.
Well, not necessarily. It's I don't know what everybody else thinks, but it's a novel approach in that the video is very sort of sticky and very viewable, and people are not likely to miss that. Normally, how are you going to promote the site? Is it a pay-per-click thing, or is it predominantly organics, and how are you going to go about doing that?
Well, the site as it was had a lot of sort of very basic things that were wrong with it in terms of search engine optimisation.
Like what?
So there was no page titles, everything was untitled.
Right.
The keyword density came up on one of the tools as being height PX or something because the style sheet wasn't separated from the rest of the content.
So it was higher under style information than your most important key phrases.
Any of the other key phrases.
Like what? What would you want to be found under?
We want to be, well, after doing all the sort of using the tools, we found that sort of what we thought that meeting venue was a more popular sort of search for sort of the meeting room, but it's actually meeting room is the actual word that is most searched for, and sort of regionalising that so that we're found under meeting room Nottingham, because we can't sort of compete with sort of real national sort of hotels and stuff. But if we regionalise it, and also we want to sort of hit that niche market of having sort of a creative meeting room, alternative meeting room, that kind of for people that are actually looking for a slightly different.
So you're going to regionalise it, and that makes it easy to compete. Do you ever watch that? Kitchen Disasters to Gordon Ramsay, the one where he goes around and rescues restaurants. He's so formulaic. He does the same thing every time, doesn't he? He simplifies the offering. He reduces the amount of content that they've got, and it's the same with this. Is to get rid of all the kind of rubbish, because people aren't reading it, people aren't ordering it. That's the first thing he does. He has a sort of clean out. So the analogy could be sort of cleaning the code up, being semantic, and then what he does is they just go out and promote it really locally, don't they? And they just sort of give somebody some cake. And that's kind of what reminded me of it really. So this, if you're Google, you're Gordon Ramsay. Get in there, simplify it, and make what you've got much more interesting and more appealing really. And just tell some people about it. What you've got to do is tempt them up there and get them up into the space. Because although you're in the city centre, you're kind of, because you're so high up, you're kind of like, in one sense, you're kind of millions of miles away as well. People don't want to come up those stairs, do they? So you've got to get them up there for some reasons, and expose them to the space, and they'll go, actually, this is really cool. It's like a tree den, you know. But being a kid, we're all the way up here, you know.
Well, we've got plans as well for sort of getting, because we're going to get one of the window spaces downstairs, on the ground floor of Waterstone. So we can obviously make a real difference to that, make it stand out from all the sort of book windows that
absolutely. Put a screen in.
And put a screen in and have that linked up with our website as well. So
my issue is, can you do it quick enough?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I think the screen in the window downstairs is get that done ASAP, make that really sort of stand out, and it's a question whether you can do it quick enough to kind of change what you're doing. But this is a significant improvement. It's much more vibey for me, and I'd like to see. It's very exhibition-y at the moment, which I can understand because that's your background. But I'd like to see a bit more. Why would I book as a business? You know, you can have a different outcome from this meeting. You know, get out of your work, solve your problem there outside your work. Little articles, little bits of research that prove if you get out of onto a neutral territory or whatever, you're able to make real breakthroughs. That kind of thing. Make your meetings count. That kind of thing.
We've had recently quite a lot of bookings that use the meeting room and the gallery. So from organisations like at the moment, we've got Science City and STEM Partnership. They're doing like a photography exhibition, but they're also using the meeting room. So it's sort of that's quite good to hone in on, maybe having case studies of people that have used both or how they could use both as an organisation. But definitely I think